Yo, everybody, what's up? OCD Mikey, hi-fi guy here, and I just decided to drop in for a little, let's see, yes, show now. I just decided to do a quick show because I just felt like shooting the shit with people. That's all there is to it. So, um, it's not a planned one. I don't have a topic or anything like that. I just felt like, you know what? I'm gonna throw one together and just jump on and see if anybody's on YouTube tonight. And then I'll spend, I don't know, a little bit of time talking to y'all. So it's open season, man. We can talk about anything you want. It doesn't have to necessarily be hi-fi. Um, there you are. Brent's here, ready to go, buddy. Good to see you, brother. Dude, I like that Furch guitar. Is awesome. Oh yeah, I should run it in. Well, it's in my listening room. I could grab it and show you, but that thing's sweet, brother. I'm really stoked. I understand what you meant about get a guitar that you really want to play. It's like, man, I almost can't keep my hands off it, when I see it. It's awesome piece. I was driving for everybody to understand what I'm talking about is I got a guitar the other day because I'm going to learn guitar and I've been practicing and I got I'm more interested in learning acoustic. Even though I got two electric guitars, I mean this is all within the last 30 days. I got a Les Paul and a Telecaster and a Marshall half stack. Um, but that stuff's kind of sitting. Like what I'm most interested in for some reason has been acoustic guitar, and I really dig it because it's the cool. You don't need electricity. That's the coolest thing about electric guitar. Or I mean, about the acoustic for me is I plan to go out, like sit in the woods, like go out in nature and play music, man. And you got your own music with you. You don't need electricity. I don't need a cell phone signal. I don't need anything. I can just play guitar, and it's just cool. So the first guitar that I got from Jamie, and thanks Jamie, one of my clients up in and tribe members up in, and I got the Les Paul from Revelry 1969. The guy you see here, Brent, he got me that Les Paul. I got the Telecaster from Jamie and this Gibson 1964 acoustic, whatever they call it, a J 21, J 18. I don't even know the model. I think my brother does. Rev, you might know. But uh and and it's an older one, and it's been through hell and back, so the cool factor is through the roof, but the playability and the kind of level of the thing is pretty basic. It's not like a wicked killer instrument. It sounds great, but it's worn out. I mean, and that's what makes it cool, right? But man, that thing's been to hell and back. It's been in weird moisture conditions. It's all shows the age. So I got one. I was driving. I was in Chattanooga, and someone said Chattanooga misses you. So yeah, man, I actually like Chattanooga. Do you live there? Um, I actually, dude, I don't know what it is, man. I go to Chattanooga and I like the vibe, and there's nothing really that amazing to report about it other than the energy there. I like it. It's something about the vibration, the resonant, whatever the hell you want to call it. When I'm there, I feel good, and I can't deny that. And I think it's cool, man. It's like a ghost town. Downtown is like a ghost town there. And that is the coolest thing to me, is to be in a cool old town with all the buildings and all that stuff and no people. It's like the coolest thing. I think it's awesome. Some people might be like, oh, I want to be in the city where there's a million people and it's all super popular. I'm like, no, dude, I've lived in those places, and I don't. The older I get, the less humans I really want to be around, except for my tribe, of course. But just like strangers and just like crowds and just, congested traffic and all that shit doesn't exist there, right? So awesome. I'm like, totally, that's part of the allure. But anyways, I was driving through Tennessee on the way up there, and I'm in the sticks. We're taking back roads. We're looking at country towns because we like to do that. And I drive by this place, and it's like music store, and it's like in the middle of the sticks. I'm like, I turn around and I go, I got to just go in there and check it out. Like I'm thinking I'm going to find some old vintage hillbilly shit that, that maybe is cool thing that I can't find back here or whatever. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking, you want a new acoustic, and so I just got to go in there and just see what happens. And I go in there and I walk in there and I look around, very small shop, and it's almost all it's all new stuff. Like I don't see any vintage stuff. So I'm thinking, well, it's not going to be what I thought it was, and mistakenly, like stupid judgmental mind that I have, I'm like, I'm up in the mountains of Tennessee somewhere, so these are all probably cheap guitars. I don't know why I was thinking that, right? Stupid. And I asked a stupid question to her, and it was so funny because she kind of kept giving me shit about it. I said, well, I just came in looking to see if maybe you had like an old Martin or something like that. And she's like, she's like, dude, the guitars on the wall are totally better than Martins, and they're half the price. Go look go up and look. And I go up and look at the first acoustic I look at is $7,500. I'm like, holy shit. And I start looking at the other ones, 3,500, 2,500, 4,500. And I'm like, oh my God, this place is like chock full of high level shit. It's nothing, no cheap Yamahas or anything like that. And I'm not saying Yamaha's bad, right? I'm just saying no cheap guitars, like all boutique level shit. And I'm like, dang, wow. Then I felt all stupid. And she kept kind of saying like, yeah, well, if you want a Martin, it tweaked her that I said that. But she started showing me these guitars, and they're gorgeous, like beautiful, handcrafted, just beautiful. And the first one she hands me is this Furch, a Furch made in Czech Republic. I'd never even heard of Furch. And I strum it, and I'm like, ooh, I liked it. And I got the OM size because I like a smaller. I have a dreadnought. The Gibson's a dreadnought, but this one's OM size. So that's orchestra model, right? It's a little thinner. It's not as big, so it fits closer to the body. And I'm not that big of a dude, right? I don't have long, lanky arms. I'm kind of a little dude in that respect. So OMs fit me well. And I strummed it, and and it sounded great. And it's totally different level than the Gibson that I have, right? And and then she proceeds to show me some other ones. I tried this other Furch that's 100% rosewood. Everything on the body. I mean, the neck was mahogany, but the whole body, top, back, everything was rosewood. Had a really mellow, and it was a dark brown, and it was just so beautiful. I buy with my eyes too, right? It's the same kind of with a lot of shit, right? So I'm like, I don't want that Sitka spruce blonde light colored top that you see on every damn guitar. And this is how stupid I am, right? I don't even play, but I'm already getting picky, right? Like, what do I want? I want something that looks a little different, right? Well, the first Furch that she gave me had a cedar top. Maybe cedar is cheap, but it had like a beautiful kind of a reddish tone to it and a beautiful satin finish. And the neck was nice and smooth and everything like that. And it sounded really good. And then she handed me a couple others. I tried these real high end, I tried the $7,500 one. I tried one that was like $6,000. That was a really weird, it was called a finger picking style. And like the bridge at the saddle was at an angle. And then the right up at the neck, I don't know what you call the neck thing that holds the strings, but that was at an angle too. I'd never seen that before. And there was because I can't remember, there's a hole in the side of the guitar facing up towards me, which they call like a resonant chamber or acoustic. Can't remember what she called it, but I've never seen a hole on the side of the guitar. And it had a beveled edge right where your arm goes to fit. And it was just super unique. But I tried it and I'm like, meh, I really wanted that rosewood one because of how beautiful it looked. However, I don't, even though I could afford it, I was like, I haven't earned that yet. I haven't earned a $3,000 guitar. I think it was three grand or 3,200 or something like that. I haven't earned that yet. I can't be that guy, and I have the tendency to do that. Go buy some shit that is beyond my skill totally just because it's beautiful and I can and whatever. So I ended up buying the entry Furch, which was, whatever, $1,300. But so beautiful. It came with a deluxe gig bag, and that's what I'm talking about. So while I was on my trip, I picked up a new guitar, and I love it, and I want to play it. It motivates me. I see it. My brother gave me some guitar stands for Christmas, and so I got it sitting there, and I just pick it up each day and practice. And I'm gonna learn this shit. But that was the story, so that's what I'm explaining. So Rev says, "What was that centipede? Cool. So glad you're digging the furch. Yeah, go get it. Yeah, man, it was great. That centipede thing is called hell. Steve told me a second ago. It's called a helmagranate. Hellgrammet. Hellgrammet. Never even heard of these things before. They're like it's like almost like a centipede. What is it? It's a hellgrammet. And
life in a flowing river can be tough.
Okay, so this is
especially without being a strong swimmer like trout.
yeah. There's
Rivers, though, are home to a great diversity of macroinvertebrates, arthropods that can easily be seen.
So that's what it is. It's a hellgrammet. You know, I don't know. It's a weird little thing. I just found it under a rock. I was looking for some rocks. When I went down to the river is low right now, and there's some certain areas of the river that are exposed where you can go out and walk on the riverbed, which is pretty cool because normally there's water all right there. So I like to go and see what's on the riverbed floor, you know, and look at rocks that have been smoothed over all that time, and you find cool, um, smooth rocks, river rocks. You know, they're just interesting, and maybe you can find some shit. And I wanted to grab a handful of stuff to tumble. I've got this little rock tumbler, and I figured why not just grab a handful of stuff from the Chattahoochee Riverbed and then tumble it. There was clearly some quartz, and I don't think there's any agate, but it was pretty cool. So I went down, and then that's where I found the hellgrammet thing. So it was weird. Joey back on the mainland, off to Glamis to do the 2-stroke quads ago. Last blast of 2025. Awesome. So if anybody doesn't know what Glamis is out by San Diego. It's the sand dunes, man. And you can rip. They got wicked sand rails out there. They have the big long flags. You got to have a flag on a stick so people can see you when you're on the other side of the dune coming up, so you guys don't collide, which is hellacious. Yeah, so that'll be fun, man. I plan to, if I get a place up in the Tennessee mountains, which I'm looking at potentially doing, we will be able to do fire road stuff. So I don't know. I'll probably get a dual sport motorcycle, but we might do some quad stuff too. If I get a place up there, there will definitely be off-road vehicles for sure. Dano, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Wisconsin in the house. Hey, tribe. Mikey, what's up? Teddy Knight from South Carolina. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Mikey and the tribe. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hello from Greer, South Carolina. Autobahn 180, I-85, Miata speedometer at 11. Dude, I just talked to somebody about Miatas today. It was like, why don't we just get a couple Miatas and flog the piss out of them on the track? You know, they're cheap. Tires are cheap. You know, all the shit for a Miata is cheap. So why not just get it and beat the shit out of it and have fun, man? You know, do up the engine and give it. It would be great if you could get 300 horsepower out of that thing. If you can do that, hoof, and you just pull all the carpet and all the crap out of it and strip it, and then put 300 horsepower and some good brakes, and you're gonna have a wicked go-kart, man. Then I'd have to get a trailer and racing shit. Hey, Mikey and tribe. I hope everybody had a blessed Christmas. Thanks, Mark, man. Good to talk to you, man. Yo, Dragnet, hope you're well. Cedar top guitars are great too. Yeah, you know what I did, man? I didn't pay attention. I know there's like all these buzzwords, you know, Sitka spruce and like there's another spruce, Adirondack or whatever. Adirondack. I don't know how to, you know, if I'm saying it proper. Spruce, you know, and that's supposed to be like the thing, you know. I was like, dude, whatever. I'm buying the thing. And people always told me, just put the guitar in your hand, play it. And there's going to be one that talks to you, and that's the one you get, and screw everything else. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to get hung up on the fact that it's not spruce, you know, whatever. You know, I want to play it. Sister has a 50-year-old 12-string Honer. Cool, man. That's pretty old. 12 strings are cool, man. I like the way they sound. They really sound cool. Happy New Year, Professor Jim. Mikey Bro and the whole tribe. You've been doing a lot of traveling the last month, Mikey. Glad you had some great times and food. Cheers, Professor Jim. Yes, I do like to travel. I do not like sitting sedentary around a house. That will drive me crazy after a while. And I just feel like it's not healthy. You know, when we travel, we go out into nature. We like to go into the mountains, or we go up. The last one up to New York was on the eastern seaboard. We spent a lot of time near the ocean. Um, we like to be outside, and it's healthy, you know. Nice to see you, Rev. I'm great. Cool. Hey, Mikey, what's the difference between 125 and the AGD tempo for F and F 270s? Okay, so the Roland 125 is an exceptionally, now if it's the tempo is the one I'm thinking about. The tempo is the $5,800 unit, right? That's the little one, like the entry level stereo amp. When I compared them side by side, clearly they're two different prices. Roland is 4,300. Tempo is 5,800. I think Roland will probably stay the same price into the new year. I believe AGD will have a little bump up in price, so AGD Tempo may become $6,000 potentially, or so. I have no idea, but I think he mentioned to me that there may be a price change because there hasn't been in 4 years. So they're a different price. They are, I think, Roland's a little bit more power at 125 watts versus I think 100 watts. And Roland is just punchier. Okay, it's got more punch when I compared them. AGD is more mellow and probably more forgiving. So the Roland is extremely transparent. So the Roland would be less forgiving in an audio system. Either one is a great match for the Fisher and Fisher 270s. So your DAC would kind of sort of help depict which way I would suggest, and after talking to you, determine how you like to listen, and then I could make a recommendation for you. But they're both great pieces. And the cool thing about the Roland is the cool thing about the AGD Tempo is it's the latest Class D technology, and it has it is more forgiving. It has more of like an A-B sound to it. The Roland 125 seems to be stronger, more punch. It's very transparent. So I don't want to say brutally transparent, but it kind of is, right? It's going to tell you exactly what's upstream more. It'll reveal more upstream, and the AGD will play a little better with whatever's upstream. In other words, if you have a little bit of a harsh DAC, okay, the Roland is not going to be as good. That will just transmit that harshness because it's not going to cover anything up. The AGD may just very slightly give it a little bit of a more musicality, so it would be a little more forgiving as to what's upstream. Of course, the Roland is the face panel and everything. The machining is just like all the Rolands. It's a piece of jewelry, so I would say the Roland's prettier, if that's a thing. But anyway, so I hope that answered your question. Love you, Mikey. Happy New Year's. Thank you, man. I appreciate you too. Pinstriping. Cool, man. Oh, dude, if you do pinstriping, get a hold of me because I want to have an old chopper helmet done with cool classic pinstriping on it. I've got a great silver flake, metal flake. It's right over there. Metal flake helmet. That's a 3/4 that would be cool to have some killer pinstriping on it. You could do, and if you airbrush, man, I don't know if you just pinstripe, but you could pinstripe. If you airbrush, we could put a black sheep on the side, man. The one like you see up here in the corner of my up over here. We could put that on the side, would be killer. You do all the Rolls Royce for Brahmin Miami. Okay, cool, man. Well, shit. So Rolls Royces have pinstripes. I guess I'm not that. I guess, what do they have? A couple pinstripes down the side? Or is this like people that want to pimp out their Rolls Royce so they do some wicked pinstriping on it? Pinstriping is a talent that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I don't know how you guys have such steady damn hands. You should see this. If you guys have never seen an actual pinstripe person, they have like this little teeny, it's like a feather, and they dip it in, and then they just pull it, dude. They pull it like this, freehand, okay? And they keep that shit perfectly lined, perfectly straight, and the line doesn't get fatter or thinner, even though they can vary it by how close they are. They're so good at that. I'm blown away whenever I see a person do a pinstripe. I'm like, dude, this is a lost art. Like, mad respect for this craft. It's the coolest thing. You guys got to see it. Maybe look on YouTube and you probably see some videos. Are the Fisher three-way speakers better speaker than the two-way? Is it a different sound? They typically, I think, well, let's see, the 2.5s get to the AMT. The sound, so the way the Fisher and Fishers work, they all have the same similar house voicing, okay? They all sound extremely natural. That is the number one characteristic, is they're very organic and natural sounding. And then the second thing is they have incredible output for their size. So a smaller speaker outputs a lot more than it would if it were MDF or any other, material. Like with these Fisher and Fishers, it might be similar, probably similar with other stone as well. But what I think Fisher has on everybody else is the natural, the organic sound. And when you go from the soft dome tweeter to the AMT, that's the first difference in sound that you get with Fisher and Fisher. That's the first change. And then what happens is it just gets this extended high. So the ones with the soft dome tweeter, very smooth, very elegant. They sound very good. But when, like, I have a 270 without the AMT and a 270 with the AMT, and when you compare the two together, the 270 with AMT just goes, it's an AMT. It just goes out to 30K or whatever. So you can hear that. It's got more extension to it. So that is the first place where the sound changes. And then the next place where the sound changes is at 570. And 570 changes because it gets subwoofer level bass. So everything has great bass, okay? Even the little monitors, all the way up to 470. But when you get to 570, you've got subwoofer level bass. So at 570, you're not even going to improve anything by putting subwoofers in. You might as well just forget subwoofers at the 570 and above. And then between 570 and the top of the line, it's just scale. How big is the room? How big do you want to scale it up? And how loud do you want to play? That's another thing. As you go up in the line, you can throttle them. They have higher outputs. So it's like, having a car. How fast do you want to drive? The higher up you go, the more output, the more you can dig into them and really output an incredible an experience. So hopefully that helps. Only pinstriping, only. It's not really an only thing. It's like you're a specialist at pinstriping, and there are very few of you guys. So pinstriping would be epic. Forget the damn logo, but just cool. You know how they do those lines that come up and cross and do those, how they would do in helmets, like right down the center of the back and then coming around the side, and you do all those beautiful things, man. It's just so cool. Need to confirm, does the Nagra streamer N-Link cable connect to the Playback Designs PlayLink? Yes, it does. Absolutely. You know why? Because Playback Designs made the Nagra streamer. Okay, so it is absolutely compatible. Yes, they do. He means the Rolls still do. They put pinstripes on their cars. That's pretty badass, man. They call them coach lines. Okay, in England. I got you. Motor coach. 90% of Rolls Royce come with pinstripes from the factory. Okay, cool. So cool. I guess I'm just not around them enough to look and pay attention to that. But that's really cool. Pinstripes are badass. Hey Mikey, AGD is debuting a dual mono design amp. Are you familiar with this offering, and what do you think? Yes, I'm familiar. As a matter of fact, we showed with it at the show at Capital Audio Fest. That was the amplifier that we had at the show. So it's a great amp, and it's terrific with Fisher and Fisher. It's a dual mono design, so you get a little bit more for your money than you would with the with the monoblocks because it's a single chassis, but it does have dual power supplies. So you get the benefit of a monoblock, but you're in one chassis. So it's pretty cool. I took my tailor. It took my tailor a week to pinstripe my suit. Oh man, yeah, good shit. So I hope everybody had a good Christmas and had a great time with their family, and ate well. If anybody wants to go on an austerity plan with me in the new year, I've already started it. I'm back to eating one meal a day, and I've dropped out bread or gluten, bread, crackers, shit like that, and pasta. I've dropped all that, and I've dropped all the sugar. Now, even when I drink, I have a like it's not really a shake. I mean, it's a mix. It's a drink. I take water. I used to use milk. Now I'm putting in water, and I put in a scoop of. It's a mix of stuff. Chlorella. It's green, right? Chlorella, blue green algae, and it's got a bunch of other shit. Ashwagandha, camu camu, uh, uh, I can't even remember all the shit, right? But it's all just different bulk powders of shit that's good for you, right? That I put into a powder. I shake it up in a huge 5 gallon jug of of the protein powder that used to be in. It was protein powder, and I just use that one. And then I put a scoop of it in water and shake it. And normally I'll sweeten it because it tastes like complete just grass. It's like you're drinking grass, and it's not pleasant. It's not nasty, but it's definitely not pleasant. It's like it is a little bit nasty, but it's not like gag reflex type nasty, right? And I used to put maple syrup in there a little bit and sweeten it up a little bit with maple syrup. Another option might have been I might have put a little honey or something in there to sweeten it to make it more palatable. But I'm not even doing that. And I'm not doing sugar. I was doing sugar and cream, and my coffees have a little cortadito, and none of that anymore, because I told you guys when I went up to uh, New York and I did that New York trip. I don't know if Sardone is watching. He's probably not. But, dude, we indulged, man. We indulged on Italian food, pasta, pizza. Hello. We were eating everything on the way up there, and we started eating tiramisu and oh shit, we're traveling, so let's have some dessert, which is great. You have a little espresso and dessert, and I put on 12 freaking pounds, dude. I weighed myself the other day, and I was a buck 92. I'm like, holy shit! I was down to 177, back up to 192. I'm like, oh shit. So I got to take it all back off. I mean, the first step is get down to 180, and that's first tier. First order of importance, get back down to 180, and then we can talk. So now it's like extreme diet change. I know how to do it. I've done it before. I've got this down, and I know the drill. But the thing is, and I could tell. I just woke up one day and I felt achy, and I'm like, oh shit, my neck aches. And when I lost the weight, I used to get achy a lot when I was up to 196. I used to be achy a lot. I got down to 177, and I was like, I'm sleeping great. My mind is clear. I've got energy throughout the day. I'm waking up feeling rested. I pop out of bed feeling great. And then that changed, bro. I could tell. I didn't even have to weigh myself. I could tell by how I felt that I'd put weight on because I'm like, I'm feeling sick again. It makes you feel sick. At least for me, it makes me feel sick. I just feel illish, and that's like, I don't know if you not saw that movie, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. But that's a good description. And so, anyways, so now I'm on the austerity plan. We talked about after the first doing a juice fast for like the first 5 days into the new year. Um, and we'll see about that. Charles, what's up? Charles got me this hat. This was Christmas present from Charles. So thanks, Charles. And of course, he says nice hat because he bought it. So it was curved, but I'm trying to make the bill flat because I like flat bills on my hat. I don't like them all curved up. But yeah, that's a killer. It's killer. It's the black sheep, baby. Thank you, Charles. Um, Steve Stoller says he bought an inexpensive streamer to check the waters. Can Ethernet switches that are not too expensive help sound quality? Yes, they can. Which one? Fidelizer, $400. Fidelizer will ship to you from, he's in Vietnam, I think, or Vietnam, I'm pretty sure, or Thailand, one of the two. Fidelizer, $400. Um, and yeah, man, it's buying an inexpensive one to just try what it's like to stream, and just get yourself a tablet. I recommend the Samsung Galaxy Tab. If you're an Apple guy, you can do it, but I can't I don't own anything Apple, and I don't. So I don't know how well Apple works with it. I think it does because some people do, but I just know my Samsung tablet has been troubled free. And then you control it with your tablet. You can control it with your phone too, but it's just kind of small to see everything. So I got a tablet, and then I have it on a RAM mount right on my chair. So I have a little holder for my tablet right on the chair, and it's pretty killer. I can just control my audio system right from there with my volume remote control. So it's a great way to put your toe in the water and see what it's like to not have to get up all the time, and what it's like to do wicked exploration of music. Like, I mean, unlimited, I should just say, unlimited music exploration, which to me is one of the main joys of listening to music, is discovering new music. And you can't do that when you have, unless you're going to go, out and buy records and spend all the time to try and find new music out, and then take the risk. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Shit, I paid $20 for that record at the, vintage, antique store or whatever, and it sucks, or whatever. This, you can just go on and you can, all those records, like when I like to go to antique shops sometimes, and I see the records and I can't help but crate dig, right? And just to see the shit, right? And then I can see it, and then I just tell my phone, play, whatever, some weird thing, Scram Cat or whatever the hell, and then it pulls it up. And I'm like, okay, so there's very few vinyl pieces that you can't find streaming. I'm sure there are some, because it's and I get the whole, it's fun to look, but it's a good thing to do to try streaming. And I tell people that too. Some of my clients that are vinyl guys, I say, just get a cheap streamer to try it, and see how awesome it is. And then once you try it, you're like, it's like trying two giant monitors on your computer. Once you do it, you're like, how did I ever only use one monitor? Like, I can't even comprehend using one monitor anymore. It's not enough real estate. So it's kind of the same thing with streaming. Once you try streaming, you're like, oh my God, this is the best. I don't want to go back. Oh, I had a few Rolls Royces there. There was one guy at the factory that did the stripes. Oh, okay. I'm sure. Stevia is a good sweetener, and stevia is there is a thought that because stevia is sweet, it triggers a insulin response in your body because it tastes sweet, even though it's not caloric. But the fact that it is sweet on your tongue, that physiologically it triggers a insulin response because of that. So I do have stevia, and I could look more into it, but I'm just like, whatever, dude, man up and drink the grass juice. It's fine. I can deal with it. Plus, it makes me feel a little bit more like I'm sacrificing a little for the end result. Whereas, if I'm put stevia in, I'm just still finding a workaround to make it sweet, and it's like, dude, really? Or can you just man up and do it without being sweet? And I think I feel a little bit more like I'm making a sacrifice a little bit more to not have it sweet. And it almost goes with the territory, because I'm on a plan for change, and with change comes sacrifice, So rather than try and find a workaround, but that is a great, it is a great suggestion. Stevia is non-caloric, and it's super sweet, man. It's good stuff. Hey, Mikey, I wish I could afford them, but I'm still curious. What's the difference between the F&F 570 and 670? They seem to be pretty similar, but have a 7K price difference. They are similar. Now, the 670, let me see if I got this right. Okay. So they made the 570 and they made the 770. Okay. And the 670 was born out of people saying, can you take this 770 and not have the top thing on it? We just want a 770 without the top thing. So they made the 670. Um, so the 670 was not, they didn't set out to make the 670. The 670 was a backwards, a design that came from trying to, I don't want to say dumb down, but simplify a 770. Whereas a 570 is something that they completely set out to do. And in a crazy way, the 570 actually goes lower on the bass register because of the volume of the cabinet for the woofers. The 670 is going to separate the two. And I mean, I can tell you the physical differences. You probably know that. The 570, if you're looking between 670 and 570, dude, there is no room that the 570 will not kick ass in. And you know, so if you're kind of like, you know, you're in that area where you want something better, but you're kind of concerned about, you know, you don't want to go too deep, go with the 570s. The 570s absolutely will not disappoint you. Now, that being said, I have a pair of 770s on hand that were a pair of that I have a pair of demos. They're open box, but they're like brand new, you know. They were used a very little bit for demonstration purposes. But so I can get a pair of 770s very close to the new price of the 670s. So I know that's not what we're talking about here, but I just thought I'd mention that if anybody else is watching and thinking about 770s, I have a pair of pre-tariff 770s that are a demo pair that I could hook somebody up on pretty well. But if you're you know, the 670s I'm sure are going to probably have a little higher output. There's going to be, you have separate cabs, so you can kind of probably dig into them a little more. But geez, man, even the 570s, dude, they're more than typically any room can handle. A 570 is good up to like a 20 by 25 room with, you know, 9-foot ceilings. A 570 will completely fill that room. Once you get to 670 and 770, if you don't have a bigger room, you're just going deeper into overkill a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with overkill. I've got a 20 by 20 room roughly, you know, and I've got 1000.1s, and they're complete overkill. It's like I have to figure out how to tame the bass. That's been the biggest thing with them, is how to tame the bass, because they have ridiculous levels of bass. So yeah, so if you want to know more, just holler, you know, with me, and holler and I can tell you more. And then Rev says the 470s give him a ton of bass. Not sure if I want more. Yeah, it starts to go into overkill, you know. It goes like another frequency down. The thing with the 470 is they need to be properly placed in the room to get that bass. Like, depending on where you have them, you could have like, oh, there's not that much bass, to holy shit, there's bass. And it has to do with the proximity to the front wall in the corners. Whereas the 570, you can pretty much throw them in any room and they've got wicked bass. They aren't, because of the size of the woofers, and, you know, because of the size of the woofers and the cabinet size. I'm a Samsung guy, fold, and have an iPad. Okay, cool. So whichever you prefer. Also, out of curiosity, does Fisher & Fisher make their own woofers, or do they have someone do that for them? Obviously, they use the awesome Mundorf AMT. Very, very nice. Yes, they buy the woofers. They do not make them in-house. Very few people. You have to think about what it takes to make. You understand there making drivers is a whole freaking company and factory, right? Like, SEAS, ScanSpeak, whatever, all those things. That is a big enterprise. There are big factories that are dedicated to making woofers. So if you're a speaker manufacturer that makes your own drivers in-house, which is extremely rare, you would have to have a driver factory on your campus, right? You'd have to have a whole, oh, that's the driver building over there. I mean, it's not like we have a driver room. It's like you've got a driver building, right? You're stamping or pouring or the baskets, and you're doing all. I mean, it's a huge thing. So it's very rare that a speaker company would manufacture their own drivers. What they do is they go to a company that's already making drivers and they say, we would like you to make our drivers. And they find a company to make it for them. And that's what Fisher & Fisher does. They have a German company that makes drivers. It's a company that I can't even remember the name of it, but it is a B2B company. They do not sell drivers like to Matasound or to the open public. You can't buy the drivers. They only make them for OEM applications, okay? And so they have them made for them. They this way they can go and tell them, here is the cabinet size. These are the parameters that we want. We want it to do this. We want this cue. We want that thing. And then the company that makes the drivers makes the driver itself for the design of Fisher & Fisher. If you buy ScanSpeak or whatever other things like that, SEAS, any of the other brands, right? We could go through that. If you buy one of those speakers, one of their models, and you put it into your box, now you are designing your speaker around their parameters and around their drivers, okay? It's just a different way of designing, okay? I hate to put it this way, but it's not as high level as companies that have their own SKU and their own driver built by the driver manufacturer. So Fisher & Fisher is that. They have their own drivers. You can't get them in anything else. They exist in no other speaker, and they are made for Fisher & Fisher, and they're the only ones that have them. And it is a German speaker brand. So I hope. And then the Mundorf is made by Mundorf, but they tweak it. So it is, again, what they do is they go to Mundorf and they say, these are the parameters that we want from your thing, and then they do from your AMT, and then they do whatever they need to do to change the AMT. So it probably might be very similar to other AMTs, perhaps by Mundorf, but it is a specific AMT for Fisher & Fisher that is unique to their designs. The other ones are completely not even close. I mean, I don't know, they might be close to other shit, but they're completely designed for Fisher & Fisher, not a tweaked version like the AMT is a tweaked version for Fisher & Fisher. I usually keep to a keto diet, no carbs or sugar. Yeah, man, I will eat brown rice, dude. That's the one exception I'm going to make. And I probably would eat a potato. I know it's a freaking starch, bro, but I just, it comes out of the ground, dude. It's natural, rice comes from a plant. It's natural, it's like, crushing up wheat and like, making it into bread and all that shit. It's not, I know they can kind of call it whole grain, but it's not a whole food. Rice is a whole food, and especially brown rice with its, husk or its bran on it, right? And then a potato is a whole food. So I'm gonna stick to the whole foods. No processed anything. No wheat flour. No flour. Okay, but I probably would eat like a gluten-free cereal, or something like that. Maybe if I wanted to have a little bit of cereal, I may have something made from, what is it, like millet or amaranth or like whatever. I don't know about corn. Corn is not that good for you either because it's GMO and weird, but like organic whole foods. But yeah, I know you feel like crap. The one that is so obvious is sugar. When I eat sugar, I can tell immediately my body wigs, you know. I can, first of all, I get the sugar rush. And my body's like, blah, 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 you know, I can feel the sugar rush. And it's like drugs, man. It's like, it feels like, you know, it feels like drugs. You're just like, ah, yeah, it feels, I'm high, you know. And then the crash, dude, after the sugar, like if I eat sugar for a couple days, I have desserts or something like that, man, I feel it, and I feel it in the morning. I feel a sugar hangover. I can totally tell sugar is, dude, like even though I haven't, you know, I mean, it's been 3 days now since I've been no sugar, no gluten. Um, I already feel healthier from 3 days of it. You know, I already feel better in the mornings, and you know, it's just gonna get better. Um, but yeah, so that's cool. After New Year, I know dude, I was like gonna do it after New Year, but I'm like, damn, I'm just trying to make an excuse to not do, because there's Christmas dinner, you know, and you prepare for that, and that's a big thing, right? Christmas dinner with the family. But there's no really New Year dinner. Maybe there is. You take your sweetheart out and you go for a steak or something like that. That's New Year's dinner. But there's not like, I mean, maybe some of y'all have family New Year dinners, but we don't. So I'm like, I'm just trying to make an excuse to stretch out my austerity plan for another week of gluttony between Christmas and New Year's. And honestly, the way I was feeling, I'm like, I just feel nasty. I can't. I feel sick, and I don't want to feel sick. You know, zero energy, just shitty, just pounding coffee to keep myself going. Not cool. You know, but it's a good keto diet's a good one. Now, do you supplement with like apple cider vinegar and different things to promote ketosis, or do you just do the diet? Because there's supplements to kick you into ketosis. I was 85, then went down to 155 because I have cancer, but now I'm up to 185 again. Cancer is shrinking, thank God. Still taking chemo pills. Have you looked into fembendazole? If you, I don't know what kind of cancer you have, but I think the cancers with tumors, fembendazole has been working. And I just read about this. I don't know anything about it, but it might be worth looking into. I've got two friends that have a rare form of leukemia, and they both have to take a pill every day for the rest of their life, or they die. And the pill is like retarded. It's like $18,000 a month or something ridiculous. You know, it's unbelievable. Um, so yeah, nice. Thanks for your answers. You seem like a cool dude. Um, well, I hope so. um, and if you want your Fisher and Fishers, if you are in the United States, I am the importer. So if you want to buy Fisher and Fishers, you will be interfacing with me for that sale. So if you go to 11stereo.com, and let me pitch my thing right now. That was the thumbs up one. 11stereo.com. I'm happy to consult with you about what would work best for you. And my Google number is 415-484-5121. It is it's a San Francisco number, but I live in Atlanta. 415-484-5121. If you call there, you'll get through to me. Or you can go to 11stereo.com. There's a different phone number there. And subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video as a way to support the damn algorithm. If you haven't given me a thumbs up right now, please do it. It just helps my efforts with this whole deal. Let me do that. Okay, go back here. Where it is, okay, here we go. What's the story with digital amps? I don't hear much about them. How do they sound compared to A, B, or D? Again, and this is a great question, because it is a question that lets you know it can't be answered in a directly. Okay. In other words, what's the story with digital amps? Like it's like saying, what's the story with cars? How do they drive compared to boats or planes, right? So in other words, a digital amp, it can be complete shit or it can be phenomenal. Depends on who makes it and what the circuit's like, right? A digital amp just does things differently. It is completely, it doesn't, it as I understand it, this is how as I understand it. As I understand it, it's like a powered DAC. The thing is like a DAC, and then at the output of the amp is where it makes the sine wave. It does not make the sine wave inside an analog waveform inside. Like a class D amp is very much an analog amplifier. It's a class D analog amplifier. A digital amp is actually a switching device that is not an analog amplifier. It's a digital amplifier, and it's like a DAC. You feed it a digital signal. You do not feed it an analog signal unless it has an A to D on the input. Okay, and I don't see where there would be advantage to that. So it depends who makes it, and it depends who makes it. So I don't know if you have a name of one, I think Exogal used to make one that was pretty cool. Did they? Can't remember if that was a D or a digital amp. Typically, when you see the digital amps, they will be called power DACs. Brahman, downtown Miami is the largest Rolls Royce dealer in the country. I believe it, man. I believe it. A lot of rollers. That's where everybody. And you know what? In Miami, it's definitely about showing. It's about flash, man. It's like, man, it's not even it more so. I want to say than anywhere else, right? Where else is flash is prevalent as it is in Miami. I think that's it, man. Miami's the place for it. Even LA is sort of, even New York a little, but not so much, man. People don't want to. You notice in New York they drive crappy cars on purpose because they don't want to get them all shot out, right? And if you drive a beautiful car, plus the Rolls is so huge for New York, but Miami you just got long straight ass roads. Um, so that's cool. 570s in my huge room. There he is, Donnie baby, in love. Donnie, I found some art that Don's an artist, by the way. He makes some really kick-ass art. And in Detroit, and he's got 570s in your room. And are you going to get those tube amps, dude? Because I've got one pair left, and it's got your name on it. You need to tell me if you want them. But I found some art. What Don told me was, don't buy art because you think it's going to be an investment or you think it's, you're trying to strategize with it or whatever. Buy what you like. Buy what talks to you. And it's so true. I went to 2 galleries when I was in Chattanooga because I'm art shopping right now. I want some original art pieces for the house. And I was in Chattanooga and we went to 2 separate art. One called itself Fine Art. And I went and walked in and I was like, dude. And he was like a Russian dude. And these were art pieces that have been brought in from Russia and Ukraine. And it's like students, you look at it and you're like, dude, this is straight amateur art. All of this shit. Like it wasn't ugly, but it's amateur art. You can tell. You walk in, it smells like oil paint. It's like, dude, are you painting them like right here? And, art is crazy. Just because it's original doesn't mean that it's fine art. If you go to China and places like that, there's people that sit there and pump out original pieces of art like in the thousands. They just all day long, they do original paint on canvas, and they do mass production like that. And there's a difference. And Donnie, I found something at this local antique shop, and it's just, and the shit, it was just intense. I like art that like you look at it and you're like, you can't, that it just makes you feel, right? It's just like the audio system. The audio system needs to make me feel. My Ducati needs to make me feel. The car, if I get a sports car, and when I get a sports car, is going to need to be visceral. I'm into that, right? I'm into the feeling, the experience. And I found this thing, and it might sound crazy, but it was so cool. It's a Christ on the cross. And he said it's from the 1800s. It doesn't have a signature on it, Don, so I don't know. And he's not trying to sell it for a lot of money. And it's pretty good size. But you look at the thing and you're like, holy shit. Like, that is intense. Like, dude. And his face looks like he's suffering. And it's gnarly. It's just like, I don't know if you've ever seen some sort of that. I don't know what era that's called. If it's but some of those depictions are heavy duty, man. And Christ in itself, Christ on the cross, is a very iconic heavy duty sort of imagery. And it's dark, and then the lights on him, and the background is dark, and it's like gnarly. I'm going to get it. I'm going to look at it again. I need to have him pull it off the wall. I need to look at the back. I need to try and determine, is it actually oil on canvas from the 1800s, or is it a fake reproduction of some sort? Because I've seen reproduction art where they do fake stuff. Um, and then I found another one that is a modern art by an artist that is from, where is she? She's from New York or something. No, can't remember where she's from. But these faces, these women's faces, sitting there, it's not actually portrait, but it's like a made up character. Like the eyes are far apart, and it's just kind of a weird. But I'm just gonna get it. I saw another two pieces that I want, and I'm just gonna get them, Don, because you gave me good advice. You said buy what you like, and I found some pieces that I like, and I know why I like them. I know what it is about them why I like them, so I'm gonna buy them. That's what I think I'm going to do. Makes perfect sense about the woofers. Thanks. I doubt anyone could possibly DIY these things. Just my curiosity. No, you couldn't. I mean, and you know what? And look, I'm the guy that tried to DIY speakers. I've got some out there, and they sound great when they have an EQ, and like if you actively crossed them over, and did EQ, then they're badass. They're like PAs. They need to have EQ but the output, these things are wicked. Okay, but I spent some time, and I tried to copy what I saw in the market. I saw something in the market, and I was like, well, if I just get the same drivers or similar drivers, and I do a similar design, I can make it sound the same. And the black art to speaker design is the crossover, and the crossover slopes, and how you implement them with everything. And man, just trying to do a basic thing. Well, this and using the Thiel small parameters, like the parameters that they give you printed with the speaker. The stupidest thing you could ever do is use the Thiel small parameters to design your speakers, because they're never what they publish. You measure them, and they're always different. They're not what they publish. That is what happens in an anechoic chamber under their using their test equipment under God knows what testing, procedures they're using or whatever. It's an approximation. Okay. And so speaker designing and building is very hard. Now, it's not hard to make something that sounds pretty good, like what I did. It sounds cool. Like you can make it sound wicked, but you need a crossover, an active crossover, 3 amps per side, or however you do it, just active crossover, and then an EQ, so you can get that just dialed right. But to make something passive that works and sounds killer in just about anywhere you put it is a black art. Speakers are definitely the black art of our business. It is hard to do, very hard to do. If you don't believe me, try it. Go buy the best drivers you can find and make a box and cut them and then ask the company that makes the speakers, what's a crossover? And they'll tell you the crossover to make. They might even give you a plan for a crossover. And you can make some shit and put it in a box. And it'll sound halfway good, but it won't sound world class. It definitely won't. And these companies spend 30 years or more developing their own special techniques and special things. So good luck with the weight loss during the holidays and traveling. I know, man. That's for sure. But thanks for the good wishes. Yes, I'm taking it. You're taking fenbendazole? You got it, and it sounds like it sounds. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying right down here. Fembens works. Okay, cool, dude. That's awesome. Taking a shot in the stomach every 3 months. Okay. Wow, man. Well, yeah, that's intense, man. I'm glad fenbendazole working. I'm glad you know about it. Prayers for Dragnet Sound. Yes, man. Yeah, we're all behind you, brother. What's a better deal, the AGD Forte or the AGD Duet? Now you're testing me on which is which, dude. I can't remember the difference. The Duet and the Fort. What's the difference? Why don't you tell me? Tell me the difference in price and what the difference in spec is, and then I'll be able to tell you. But I don't remember them offhand, dude. It's hard for me to remember all the different amps that he's got. You know. I like the Vivace and quite honestly, the Vivace and the Audion are the two that he started with. Are they're the two that I pay attention to. The other ones were made to the oh, what is it, the entry level one, which is not is that the duet? I can't remember. Whatever the entry level one is, somebody just said it up there. The tempo. The tempo was made um, to just try and give an entry level something that didn't have the monoblocks, because he started with Vivace and Audion, and that was his whole thing. I'm just doing monoblocks in these chassis like that, and they're super cool. And then it's like people started, you know, the chassis is too much, and I don't want the tube thing, and I just want to just make us a box, you know. So okay, let's make them a box. Let's give it more power and put it in a box and make it cheaper, because they don't understand quality. They just want watts per dollar. Fine, let's do it. So the tempo was made because of that and its success. Forte and duet were made, and they're just varying levels of power, varying levels of if they're dual mono or if they share a stereo board. But they're all pretty much based on the same technology. Here we go. Same price. Forte has more power, but is a stereo amp. The duet is monoblock. Oh, okay. So, yeah, choose what you want. You know, more power or better signal to noise ratio. You know, monoblocks are always going to have better signal to noise. They have independent power supplies. They have independent chassis. They have independent grounding. They're completely separate. So monoblock is always going to be better than a stereo amp in terms of just isolation between channels. Okay. Once you put them in the same, a stereo amp typically shares a power supply. When you share a power supply, you get crosstalk. You get crosstalk when you share the same board, same ground, you know, all that kind of shit. You get crosstalk. It's a little higher noise. But you get one chassis and it costs less, you know. So it's in my opinion, if it's I will go with the monoblocks. If it's the same price, I go with monoblocks. You know, that's just unless it's a, you know, I need the power, you know, and I'm pretty sure duet has enough power for your speakers. Okay, well, we are at the 1 hour mark, and I didn't intend to remember Sundays are the day that I normally blow off. I'm doing live streams, but I felt like I wanted to do it. Japanese toothpick. You guys remember the parable of the Japanese toothpick? Handmade toothpicks. Do you remember that? Do you remember that parable? We've got each one carefully handmade. This is a handmade toothpick. I'm not even going to put it in my mouth. It's too precious. I should use it, though. I mean, that's what they're there for. And then this handmade box, hand-carved box. Cool as shit, man. Who makes toothpicks by hand? That is cool shit. All right, everybody. I got to go. But I will see you on Wednesday. So thanks, everybody, for joining, and I will see you later. See you.